Up until now, all of our discussions of hours and days have been constant. An hour was an hour, made up of 60 minutes or 1,080 halakim. Today we're going to discuss something that deals with halacha, Jewish law, which is known as sha'ot zmaniyot, variable hours. And there are many items, many commands of the Torah that are done at a certain point of the day or night, either like Kriya Shema, which is done in the morning or the nighttime, or Tefillah, prayer, which is done in a certain part of the morning, the beginning of Shabbat, which happens at the Shkia. There's all types of things which require Zmanei Hayom, different times of the day. Some of the most popular times that we talk about when we're talking halacha would be like Chatzot Halayla, midnight. There's different things that are done at midnight, at least in the Beit HaMikdash, was the beginning of the Avodat Yom HaKippurim. Also, you have to be careful, at least to try and say the Kriyat Shema of the evening before Chatzot Halayla, midnight. There's also Alot HaShachar, daybreak, which for the most part is the beginning time for the vast majority, if not all, of the mitzvot of the Torah which are done during the day. And it's also the end for the mitzvot which are done during the course of the night. You have Neitz HaChama, sunrise. There are many mitzvot that should be done at sunrise. Tefillah should be done at sunrise and not too much before that. Under certain circumstances, you may say the evening Kriyat Shema until sunrise. Shalosh sha'ot bayom, 3 hours into the day. That's generally the end time that you can say the mitzvah of Kriyat Shema. Arba sha'ot bayom, 4 hours into the day. That's the time where you have to stop eating chametz on Erev Pesach, and it's also the end of Zman Tefillah. Chatzot Hayom, midday. There are some mitzvot which are only done in the afternoons, things that have to do with korbanot. Also the saying of Tfilat Mincha. Then there's also the concept of Mincha Gedolah, the great Mincha, which starts 6.5 hours into the day, and Mincha Ketana, which starts 9.5 hours into the day. You have on Erev Shabbat and Erev Yom Tov what's known as Sha'a Asirit, the 10th hour, where you really you can't start a meal with bread at that point in anticipation of the holiday and the Shabbat. You have also the concept of Plag HaMincha. You take your Mincha Ktana, your small Mincha, and you slice that in half, and at 10.75 hours into the day, you have what's called Plag HaMincha, that according to Rabbi Yehuda is the beginning of the time that you're allowed to say Tfilat Arvit. You have Shkiyat HaChama, sunset, and which is the time where you're supposed to start Chag and Shabbat. And you have Tzeit HaKochavim, when the stars come out, which is usually the beginning of all those mitzvot of the evening. What we are trying to do in this lecture is to be able to figure out how to calculate a variable hour, a Sha'a Zmanit, so that you can figure out when many of these times fall during the course of the day. One thing we're not going to discuss is we're not going to discuss calculating Alot HaShachar, daybreak, Neitz HaChama, sunrise, Shkiyat HaChama, sunset, and Tzeit HaKochavim, when the stars come out. Those are areas of great debate, and they're very complicated based upon texts in the Talmud and many different explanations. So for this discussion, we're just going to take a luach, a calendar, a tablet that has these different times for each day of the year, and just go by that and not try to figure out when those 4 times are supposed to happen. But we will, using alot and tzeit and nates and Shkia to be able to figure out Sha'ot Zmaniyot, variable hours, in accordance with two opinions. One of the Gaon of Vilna, otherwise known as the Gra, and the other one as of the Magen Avraham. The calculation of Sha'ot Zmaniyot is really not difficult once you have the theory. The Sha'ot Zmaniyot, variable hours, which are used for the purpose of fulfilling Jewish law and keeping of the mitzvot, you take the time between 2 points in the day and divide by 12, considering the fact that under halacha there are 12 hours of night and there's 12 hours of day. But because these are variable hours, it means that it's very possible, depending on the season of the year, the length of the hours of the nighttime will be different than the length of the hours during the daytime. And it's very possible, if you're talking about in the dead of winter or in the middle of the summer, that not only will the two sets of hours not equal each other, but they also won't equal 60 minutes each. So according to the Gaon of Vilna, the Gra, you take as your 2 points Netzachama, sunrise, and Shkiatachama, sunset. If you're trying to figure out what are the Sha'ot Zmaniyot of the day, you would take the time lapse from sunrise to sunset and you would divide by 12. And if you're trying to find out the Sha'ot Zmaniyot of the night, you would go from Shkia to Netz, sunset to sunrise. It's the same calculation. Figure out how much time is between those 2 points and divide it by 12 to get 12 even hours, Sha'ot. But not necessarily Sha'ot of 60 minutes. For the Magen Avram, you do the exact same thing. However, your points of reference are different. According to Magen Avram, you calculate from Alot HaShachar, daybreak, which is generally before Netz HaChama, and until Tzeit HaKochavim, when the stars come out, which is generally after Shkiat HaChama, when you're figuring out Sha'ot Zmaniyot of the day, and then conversely, from Tzeit HaKochavim till Alot HaShachar to figure out the Sha'ot Zmaniyot of the nighttime. And now let's go for an example. So let's figure out a Sha'ot Zmani according to the Gra. And, it would be so easy if we would take a day on either the spring equinox or the fall equinox where there's an equal amount of daylight and sunlight, because then a Sha'ot Zmanit would come out to be 60 minutes, just like a constant Sha'ah. We're not going to do that. That's too easy. We're going to take a sunrise that's different than a sunset. Let's say that the Netz HaChama, the sunrise, was at 5:54 a.m., and the Shkiat HaChama, the sunset, was at 7:15 p.m. So the first thing you have to do is find the time lapse between Aleph and Bet, which comes out to be 13 hours and 21 minutes. So the first step is, first of all, turn it all into minutes. So you take your 13 hours times 60 minutes per hour, and then you add the 21 minutes, and you get 801 minutes. That's the total amount of time between sunrise and sunset on this particular day. Okay? 801 minutes, dakot. Then you take that, in order to find your Sha'ot Zmani, you take that and you divide it by 12. 801 divided by 12 comes out to 66.75 minutes per hour. So in the Sha'ot Zmani, it is going to be longer than 60 minutes than a constant hour by 6.75 minutes. 0.75 of a minute is 45 seconds. 0.75 of 60 seconds per minute is 45 seconds. So on this particular day, one Sha'ot Zmani comes out in terms of constant hours, 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 45 seconds. So let's figure out Sof Zman Kriya Shema according to the Gra on this particular day. The end of the time of saying the Kriyat Shema in the morning is 3 hours, 3 Sha'ot Zmaniyot, 3 variable hours into the morning. So we've already calculated that one Sha'ot Zmani is, what did we just say? 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 45 seconds. Well, if you can go 3 hours into the day, you have to multiply everything by 3. So 3 times 1 hour is 3 hours, 3 times 6 minutes is 18 minutes, 3 times 45 seconds equals 135 seconds, which is 2 minutes and 15 seconds. You put it all together, you get 3 hours. You take your 2 minutes from this last thing and add it to the 18, you get your 20 minutes, and you got 15 seconds. So then, according to the Gra, you calculate from Neitz HaChama, from sunrise. So you take your sunrise, 5:54 a.m., you add 3 hours, so now you're at 8:54 a.m., you add your 20 minutes and 15 seconds, you get 9:14 and 15 seconds a.m. And that is the time at which you have to be finished with saying your Kriyat Shema in the morning if you intend to fulfill the command as is said by the Torah. Now, let's figure out how long you could say Tefillat Shachri. That goes 1 more hour into the day. Here, we can do it right now. All you have to do is just add 1 more hour. So, if Sof Zman Kriya Shema is 9:14 and 15 seconds, so you add another hour, that's 10:14 and 15 seconds. You add another 6 minutes, which is 10:20 and 15 seconds. And you add another 45 seconds, which makes Sof Zman Tefillah exactly 10:21 a.m. in the morning, according to the Vilna Gaon, according to the Gra. Now, as we said before, according to the Magen Avram, your starting point would be Alot HaShachar, and your ending point would be Tzeit HaKochavim. And you do the exact same calculation, and if you're trying to figure out Zmanei Halayla, what time is midnight, you do the same thing. However, according to the Gra, it would be from Shkiat HaChama to Neitz HaChama, sunset to sunrise, and according to the Magen Avram, it would be Tzeit HaKochavim, the coming out of the stars, until Alot HaShachar, daybreak. From that, you could answer, you could calculate any question put to you in terms of when is Sof Zman Kriya Shema, when is Sof Zman Tefillah, when is Mincha Gedola, which is 6.5 hours into the day, when is Shah Sirit, which is 10 hours into the day, when is the beginning of Mincha Katana, which is 9.5 hours into the day, and Plag HaMincha is the time between 9.5 hours and the end of the day. So, 10.5 hours, 11.5 hours, 12 hours, there's 2.5 hours. What's half of 2.5 is 1 1/4. And so, 1 1/4 plus 9.5 is 10 3/4. So, Plag HaMincha is 10 3/4 hours into the day, because Plag, it is half of the Mincha Katana. And the Mincha Katana starts at 9.5, so it goes 2.5 hours. Half of that is 1 1/4. And you can figure out, using this calculation, the times of all of these for any given day, provided that you know when sunrise and sunset is, or Alot and Tzeit HaKochavim is. And that, take a look at a table. We're not going to discuss how you figure those out.